Today I'm bringing you the 2027 Toyota Land Cruiser LC400. It's supposed to be a hardcore off-roader that can climb mountains and cross rivers. Yet somehow, its front end has been refined to look more polished than most luxury urban SUVs. First, let's make one thing clear. These are concept renders, not official Toyota production photos. So today, we're not talking about confirmed powertrains, pricing, or equipment. We're talking about the design and what this still unannounced Land Cruiser might actually be trying to become. Everyone knows a Land Cruiser grille is supposed to be built for one thing: hard work. But these renders suggest something has changed. That grille isn't just working anymore. It's making a statement. Look at the front. The grille is almost ridiculously large, but the interesting part isn't the size. It's the design. Instead of simple horizontal bars and traditional chrome, it moves toward a darker, blacked-out mesh pattern with an almost semi-closed appearance. In other words, it doesn't just want to function as an air intake anymore. It wants to become a face. And when you look at how the Land Cruiser grille has evolved over the years, the direction becomes pretty obvious. Early Land Cruisers focused heavily on simple, practical horizontal bars. Then the grille became larger, then more square. And now, these renders push it toward a much darker, more aggressive identity. The Land Cruiser is slowly shifting from tool to symbol, but the headlights go even further. They're sharply narrowed, almost like a bird of prey staring at something in the distance. And the aggression doesn't come from making the headlights huge. It comes from making them cold. The design message is pretty clear. The grille still tells you, I'm a Land Cruiser. But the headlights add, I'm not the Land Cruiser you remember. And that raises the real question. Can hardcore Land Cruiser fans actually accept a front end this refined? Because the biggest surprise comes when you move to the side. This is where the design starts playing tricks on your eyes. For the first time, these lines seem to have learned how to lie. The fender arches flare out even more aggressively. The shoulder line sits lower, and the roofline is no longer just a perfectly straight, boxy shape. There's now a subtle waist to the body. At first glance, you still see the classic go-anywhere silhouette. But look closer, and you realize the proportions are being carefully optimized for camera angles, stance, and visual drama. The big wheels and high ground clearance still make it look ready to climb mountains. But let's be honest, those giant wheels have another job. They make the entire vehicle look expensive under city lights. And that's the interesting contradiction. This design is basically visualizing off-road capability. It's not necessarily saying, take me through the mud every weekend. It's saying, park me on the street and watch people turn their heads. The previous Land Cruiser still looked like a tool. These renders make it look like a fitness coach who just put on a perfectly tailored suit. The muscle is still there. But now, it cares about the cut. And that brings up another question. Those bigger wheels definitely look better. But they can also mean more weight, higher costs, and potentially worse efficiency. So what would you choose? Maximum off-road function or maximum road presence? Now move to the rear. And strangely enough, the more restrained it becomes, the more you understand what this vehicle might really be trying to accomplish. It doesn't chase the giant continuous light bar trend. It doesn't cover the tailgate with unnecessary decorations. The taillights simply become thinner and longer. The bumper stays solid. The tailgate remains wide and practical. On paper, that sounds boring, but that's exactly the point. The Land Cruiser doesn't need its rear end to beg for attention. It doesn't need flashy lighting tricks to prove anything. Its presence comes from the overall proportions. The older Land Cruiser's rear looked like pure equipment. These renders give it something different. A quiet, confident, don't mess with me attitude. But here's where things get complicated. A lot of younger buyers might look at this and say, where's the technology? Where's the drama? And honestly, if Toyota went all in with a continuous light bar, an illuminated badge, and every futuristic trick available, what would actually separate the Land Cruiser from every other luxury urban SUV? Because once the Land Cruiser becomes a completely polished luxury package, there's one question it can't escape. Is it still willing to get dirty? Inside, these renders clearly push toward luxury. A large central display, a digital instrument cluster, premium materials, full connectivity. Everything is stacked toward a more sophisticated, modern cabin. Physical buttons could become less important. And for longtime Land Cruiser owners, that could completely break their old muscle memory. But in return, they get a cleaner, more refined interior. The hybrid direction follows the same philosophy. More electric assistance could make the Land Cruiser smoother and more efficient, but it could also reduce some of the raw, mechanical character and exhaust. Sound that hardcore fans love. And that's the real challenge. This Land Cruiser wants to satisfy two completely different worlds. The people who want to climb mountains, and the people who want luxury, comfort, and serious road presence. The danger? It could end up being caught in the middle. Hardcore off-road fans could call it too soft. Luxury buyers could call it too rugged. And suddenly, when you look back at the exterior, you realize the contradiction was already written all over its face. So here's the final question. Is a more refined Land Cruiser simply the next evolution? Or is Toyota slowly betraying what made the Land Cruiser legendary? Let the comments fight this one out. And if you want more future cars, wild concepts, and next-generation automotive designs, hit like and subscribe.